Joel Embiid, what a night in the association last night.
Was a good little night of basketball.
Who would have thought that scoring 62 would get almost no mention in the media scene because Joel Embiid goes for 70.
Also, it was in a loss. You got to win. It's got to mean something.
It's not just that it was in a loss. It was a very bad loss, but Joel Embiid became the 9th player last night in his win against the Spurs in Wemby to score 70 points in a basketball game.
It was pretty fun. It was hilarious to watch him. I obviously didn't see the entire thing, but watching the highlights of it, seeing him back down Wembanyama, that guy's going to dominate the NBA at some point. And he had a couple of shots that were like up and around Embiid that Embiid just turned around and didn't know would hit him. But watching him get dominated in the paint, at least, it brought me a slight bit of happiness.
We have Joel Embiid audio. He did this, I guess, on the anniversary of another player achieving a milestone, and I wasn't aware of this until the end of the game.
Yeah, I saw this on social media last night.
And here was Joel Embiid's thoughts.
Even though I started playing late, from the time I started playing, Kobe was my guy. He's the reason why I started playing basketball. And it's funny because on the same night he had 81, and that was my favorite player. So, when I started, that was the guys that I was looking up to, and they were doing all this. So, if he says it's inspiring, I hope, in a couple of years, hopefully when I don't have to guard him and I'm out of the league, he's able to do the same thing and, go out and break all these records and possibly break Wilt's record of 100 points.
So the anniversary of 81 from Kobe, Joel Embiid gets 70 and then says Wemby might break the 100-point barrier set by old Wilt back in the day. Kevin Durant had a nice little game for the Phoenix Suns.
He did,
and he was told in the media scrum about Joel Embiid scoring 70. Here's his takeaway.
Brendan, I don't know if you saw Joel Embiid score 70. Cat had 60.
70?
Yeah, Joel has 70 today.
58 3. Yeah, 70.
Yeah. So what did nights like tonight mean in the NBA?
Shit.
That's a great 70. 70.
70.
Can I say this?
And he only hit 1 3.
That was going to be my hot take on this.
Yeah.
Like when Dame had 70, what do you have, like 8 or 9
crazy.
threes or
Joel
something?
Embiid did it the right way.
He did it the old
way.
unanalytical way.
He earned that 70.
No, but I will say, I do think there is something that was a little more impressive about not making 15 3-pointers and scoring 70 points. Is that a hot take? Is that too hot take?
I don't think he was pretty efficient, too. Was he 24 of 41?
Oh, I mean,
and then he went to the free throw line and took care of business there.
He's the league MVP. He's at like 60, 40.
Brandon, playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoffs. Come on. Playoffs. He can't win the MVP.
For the regular season?
Have you seen him in the playoffs?
For the regular season?
I love that we do this in every sport. We're doing it now. We did it with the Heisman Trophy. The playoffs should matter in the Heisman Trophy. The NFL MVP, it should matter in the postseason. It's like it's a regular season award.
No, the only thing you have to worry about is the new minimum games.
Oh, yeah, the requirement.
Was it 65?
I thought it was 58.
No, I think it's 65.
Did it get moved up into the 60s? Yeah, I mean, that's a good requirement, by the way, to have, especially if you're going to do all NBA stuff because guys get bonuses. 70 points and 18 rebounds. I kind of put him in I don't know if it's a linear comp, but I was listening to his post game, watched a little bit of this game. I was kind of perusing the NBA landscape last night. I got some other audio I want to get to that's I thought pretty good. I kind of put Joel Embiid in the Lamar category. An athlete that we all know is otherworldly. He's amazing. And I don't like that we always do it, but we do kind of acknowledge that we're also sports fans and championships in basketball matter a great deal for a player.
Yes.
And championships in football for quarterbacks.
Only quarterbacks.
Only quarterbacks matter a great deal. I kind of view Joel Embiid and Lamar as the same. Like, we all know what we're seeing is awesome, but there is a segment of people, a portion of people that say, go win the chip then.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we do that, like why we have to like chip or bust with players and just say this guy's amazing.
Sure.
But I kind of comp them the same way, Joel Embiid and Lamar Jackson.
Elite players, you should never doubt their abilities. And I think they're both reminders. We'll see what happens with Lamar this year in the playoffs. But Embiid, at least, is a good reminder in the NBA that even for Denver, to use them as an example, like before, when Jamal Murray was hurt, before they got Aaron Gordon, what was Denver doing in the playoffs with with Jokic playing as good as anybody in the league and being an MVP candidate. They lost a series to the Blazers in the second round of the playoffs.
They did.
That happened, and Lillard wasn't even that good in that series. That's where they were at. Jamal Murray got better. He got healthy. They added Aaron Gordon. They picked up some really good reserve role players. The team got better around him, and now he wins, and now his legacy is validated. Joel Embiid is a reminder of that. Like, his running mate the last couple of years in the playoffs has been one of the biggest disappearing acts in NBA postseason history, year in and year out, and a guy who wanted to get out of there. And we'll see how this year goes. I'm not expecting much different from Philly because the game plan is, how do you stop Joel Embiid, throw 15 bodies at him, make everybody else beat you, make his life a living hell, and if one of the random bench guys steps up for 25, you can live with that, but it's not a reliable strategy. And it's really frustrating when you can't have nuance in some of these debates. Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the league. He's been deserving of MVP consideration. He's deserving to win it again. And what he does in the postseason has no bearing on that whatsoever.
Very rarely, Dirt, would you find a 70-point night is so amazing that it overtakes a 62-point night. And Karl Anthony Towns, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they had this. The problem was it's not 70.
No.
The other problem was they lost at home to the Hornets.
And Brandon Miller looked really good last night.
Brandon Miller is looking really good in general.
That's fun. That's cool to know.
He's shooting 37% from three. He's 6'7". Last night he was absolute. I watched more of that game on League Pass than I did the Joel night. I was keeping tabs on Embiid Joel.
The Sixers game was on NBA TV.
Yeah.
And so I flipped. I heard what was going on.
You're alerted to it.
Alerted to it.
He had 20 points in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was.
He had 44 at the half, I think.
I think
Cat had 44.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it was.
that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, it's just unbelievable that a 62-point night kind of just falls by the wayside. But I want you to listen to the head coach of Karl Anthony Towns. Asked him, Chris Finch, they asked him what he thought of the game, given that, his players scored 62 in a game, and this was his takeaway.
It was an absolute disgusting performance of defense and immature basketball all the way through the game. So it really didn't slip away. It had been there from the jump. So this is what happens when you have this type of approach. Obviously, we're going to try to feed a hot hand, look for a hot hand, but at some point, we got to get back to making the right play. We got to get back to doing the right things. Let's just... like I said, there's a lot of ways to be immature. There's always a lot of ways to be immature. And there was a lot of immature performances here throughout the roster. We totally disrespected the game ourselves. And we got exactly what we deserve. So,
Chris, did you also see, did it turn into Karl trying to hunt like a big number?
Yeah, but for a while, it was going. But, down the stretch, we kind of dried up for us. But, yeah.
Down the stretch when it mattered most, he dried up on us with 62 points.
There you go.
He was on the bench for like a chunk of the fourth quarter with 62. And then they brought him in for that last offensive possession. He definitely got fouled on that, by the way. He got hacked like 5 times.
You thought he got hacked on that?
I thought he did. I thought Miller and like 3 other dudes just grabbed his arm.
Well, the guy that got the block, Leaky Black, formerly of North Carolina fame.
Yes.
He got the block. They fouled him at the end, so they're up 1. Leaky Black is going to the line. We had the play-by-play guy of the Hornets on 2 years ago.
We did.
Eric Collins. He's fantastic. And Leaky Black goes to the line. Game's kind of on the line. You need these points. There's like 2 seconds left. And Eric Collins has this comment.
He's never made a free throw as a pro, but he has now. I love Leaky. I love Leaky. I love Leaky.
That is such a good call. That guy is fantastic. I do have some fun factoids for you from last night.
Yeah.
There was a pair of 60-point games last night. You know the last time that happened in the NBA?
Last year with Dame and Luka?
It has not happened since 1978.
Oh, okay. I was way wrong.
George Gervin and David Thompson.
Did you just call him George Gervin?
I did. Gervin.
Gervin.
The Iceman.
Do not disrespect the Iceman.
The finger roll.
He can finger roll.
Gervin?
Yeah.
George Gervin? That's like me reading a hockey name or a baseball name.
I used to call him Giannis. What do you want from me?
That's
okay.
true.
That I was like 25 years before I was alive. When it happened, Bill Walton was the MVP.
Oh, wow.
Wes Unseld was the Finals MVP, and there were 22 NBA teams.
Blazers
the
should have
last
won
time
the
that
title
happened.
that year.
That was the year he broke his foot.
Yeah.
Didn't finish the season.
Yeah, that's why the Wizards won that title.
Yeah.
Back when we were a good, relevant team.
They were the Bullets back then. Please excuse me.
Are they? Yeah. I always get confused with their jerseys. Like, what are you right now? I still have those moments. I went to the game this year, and I momentarily, I was like, oh, yeah, they're the Wizards. They're the Wizards. They're the Wizards.
Remind yourself.
I think Bullets was too aggressive.
Wes Unseld.
George Gervin.
No.
Big fan of George Gervin.
That was one of the great. That was back
Joe
when
Jurevicius.
we talk about Sports
all of his
Illustrated.
games.
Do you remember the Sports Illustrated posters though? The one with him.
Oh yeah,
Iceman sitting on the ice igloo throne. That was fantastic.
I went to the SI website, by the way, to buy something. It's very limited. I didn't see as many options as I feel like I used to find all the covers as poster options, and that's not the case.
Nobody maintaining the website right now.
20% off though.
You can get a good discount.
Nice little fun night in the association.
It was a really good night. You got two centers going for 60 different ways too, because Cat hit a bunch of threes.
We'll dive more and more into basketball as football kind of gets further and further out of our lives, unfortunately. Not that it ever permanently goes away.
No, but we're almost there. It's on the horizon.